All right, let's see here. Getting ready to go. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Welcome to the Tube Labs podcast. I am your host, Rosh Sillers. It's so good to have you here. In this show, we are talking about your workflow, your YouTube workflow for success. And it's important to have and understand what your workflow is, because if you don't have a plan, it's hard to continue to develop momentum. And one thing you don't want to do is feel like you're starting over from the beginning when you begin your channel each time, or each time you develop a new video. Do you feel like you're starting over? I guess that's really the question I'm trying to dig into here. And if you feel like you're starting over, well, then maybe it's because you don't have a plan and you don't have a workflow to build off of. Hey, I want to give a shout out and welcome to everybody that is in this chat. And, you know, there are people that offer some advice that you'll see in chats. Like, I suggest you should change your channel. That's ridiculous. Absolutely not. My channel's just fine. But that's, you know, the thing is, you have to watch out what people are saying. So be careful. That's not, there's no such thing as a channel freezing the way you think it is. I mean, it's a very, very rare thing. I get plenty of views and plenty of subscribers, and you know, everything is great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your concern though, but that's not a real thing. So anyway, okay, let's get on to the show and the idea of workflow. I will answer questions at the end of this section. This is stuff that I will cut out for the actual podcast, but I do want to answer questions related to growing a YouTube channel. And, you know, I have years of experience with social media, and I understand, I work on other people's YouTube channels, and I understand what helps and what does not, quite honestly. And a lot of times it has to do with topics. So those who are wondering why I am growing, I am growing 100. That's the thing. How many subscribers am I supposed to have, and how many viewers am I supposed to have? I am growing every single day. New subscribers, viewers every single day. So, yeah, well, probably more because of the topic. See, just because you have a YouTube channel and it's, you know, reasonably produced doesn't mean it's automatically going to grow. You have to have people who are interested specifically in what I talk about. And what I talk about related to marketing and the combination code is a very specific, very thin audience. And so the reason why it doesn't grow at the pace some people may think it should after 4 years, well, you know, that's the thing. The average channel takes 5 years to get 1,000 subscribers. So if you base it off of that, I'm well above average. I'm very happy. I'm doing well. Thank you. Okay, let's get into the actual podcast again. I do appreciate, you know, I hate to be rude, but I get that question a lot, and it's a ridiculous question. So no, I'm succeeding, but thank you. I'm succeeding just fine. All right. Okay, back to the podcast. So developing your workflow is so important because, as I've mentioned many times before, you know, consistency is important. It's important for the viewer, but it's actually more important for you, I believe, because developing that workflow of consistency will help you keep going through the ups and downs. Now, we get a lot of folks who talk about the ups and downs and are really frustrated about their channel. And you have to remember, every single channel is different. And if you try to compare yourself to the top channels that you see out there, you're going to be very disappointed. And you have to understand, as long as you're moving forward and you're bringing in good new people and a good audience, you're doing great. But to keep yourself going, you need to have a workflow so you don't feel like you're restarting your channel or creating a new video for the first time. You know, you have to understand what it is you're going to do next. And as I've mentioned in the previous shows, one of the best things to do in terms of your next video is to ask yourself, what would the people in the last video appreciate? Okay, that's your first step. So now you have a plan. You know what your next video will be. And then maybe even think about the video after the video you're creating. That's really helpful too. So what you need to do is really write out a list of a few videos that flow from one to another. So you don't have to figure out, oh, now what do I need to do for my next video? You know what it is, and keep it maybe 2 or 3 ahead, and always do your research. Now, there are a number of ways to approach developing a channel. You can go through search, or you can go through suggested. Nico Kaminsky has some really good new stuff on Morning Fame right now related to suggested. He actually has some videos as of recently related to getting suggested. So I would highly recommend you check out some of that stuff over at Morning Fame. That would be really helpful for you if you're interested in suggested. And there are a lot of people talking about search, and search is helpful, especially when you're small. And that's when you need to start off with that. So think about how you want to make some of your videos for search, and then some for suggested, and start seeing which is working best for you. Now, when it comes to my workflow, let me explain how I go about it. I do exactly what I was talking about. I consider my topic. And then I write a headline for that topic. So I make sure I'm able to talk about that subject in the video. And I will think about maybe a few thumbnail ideas or concepts. Now, there are a number of people who are way ahead of that and start developing their thumbnails before the video. I like to wait till after, but I do want to take the time. And we'll talk about how I approach that in a moment, because that is part of the workflow. The workflow is the process that you go through to make a video. And that should always you should always be continuously trying to improve that process so it's easier and easier to create your videos. One of the things that I will do is I will look at the week ahead and decide, okay, first of all, where is the video right now that I just published? In other words, how well is it doing? If it's doing really, really well, I'll let it ride. I will let it maybe go an extra day or two before I publish the next video. However, if I have a video that doesn't do so well, maybe I get less than normal views, I will then publish the next video sooner. It's sometimes nice to have a few videos ahead and produce a couple videos so you can immediately publish them when it's time to publish them. There are a few people who have worked through this process. Danielle Patel, Brian G. Johnson have talked about this, and I do like this. Now, some of us like to publish on a specific day of the week, and that is fine too. Maybe it's Tuesday for you or Wednesday afternoon. You can do that too. And that's fine. And that's quite often for you and the viewer to keep yourself going through a process. And I think for the most part, understanding that you have people that may be expecting your video at a specific time is important. But the reality is, you can make adjustments along the way. But here, it is also important to get that momentum in the beginning of your video. So I would highly recommend you look at the YouTube analytics and look at the audiences. And there is a chart there. They'll show you in purple where and when your audiences are watching. So I would also consider that too. So if you're going to skip a day, or if you're going to delay a video being published, well, especially if you publish multiple times a week. If you do it once a week, I would stick with that schedule. But if you do it multiple times a week and you want to wait a day or two, take a look and see what might be the better day for the next publishing opportunity. All right. So one of the things you'll want to do is understand what is your editing process, what is your publishing process, what is your promotional process. You should really write this stuff down as part of your workflow. So again, you're not rethinking it every single time. So once I create a video and I have a process, the way I go about it is I usually use bullet points. In other words, the things that I want to say as it relates to the video. I don't just start talking like today for this podcast. I pretty much just start talking about the topic, and I keep going through these various topics, and I'll edit it out a little bit better later because this is live, and there are folks here who are live right now who are commenting. I unfortunately can't respond to you all right now, but I will look back in and see what you guys were talking about, maybe during the question and answer. But I will, go through and create a bullet point list, and then I will make sure I cover all those areas. I'll decide if I want a long video or a short video, depending on what I'm trying to accomplish. And then I will go through and I will turn the camera on, and I generally don't turn the camera off until I am done with the video. That way there's just one or two files, and I put it in order, and I create the video in order as part of my workflow process. And the thing is, the workflow process helps you stay on target. And so I will continue to, the person that's getting really, really mad, you're Jaguar. Hey, dude, I'm doing a podcast and I can't answer questions right now. I'll answer questions afterwards. So I just paused the podcast for you, but I will answer questions at the end, and life's good. This isn't designed to have a big community. So I will do that. I will do that and answer questions later, but I got to get through the podcast first. I just happened to do this live for a number of reasons. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so back to that process. Thank you very much. It's okay. It's all right, Jaguar. I appreciate it. Just don't be rude to people when you don't understand what's going on. So, okay, so the process of understanding what I'm going to say, going through the video, and then I think about my editing. And because everything is in order, it's now a lot easier for me to edit. And what I'll do is I'll make one pass through of the video, and I'll cut out the stuff that doesn't belong. Like, in other words, I will do 2 or 3 takes of the same thing, and then I'll pick the best one and then go to the next line or topic and do it again. And I'll keep going, and I'll put it all together, make it nice and tight in the editing. And then if I feel like there needs to be transitions or maybe some B-roll to keep the interest. And I think a lot of times people are wondering, does B-roll really help? I think it does. I think it does. In all sincerity, sometimes it's better that I'm not on camera. People enjoy it when I'm not on camera more. And that's a fair thing. So you have to understand what your audience cares about. So maybe they're more interested. They may be interested in the topic, but not me talking at them, but the B-roll helps keep it interesting. So I have to decide that and where I'm going to place it and keep that process. So I'll go 2 or 3 or 4 passes through my editing, and then maybe, and also put in some music sometimes, not always, and I'll continuously improve that video 2-3 times, and then I save it, render it, and then I upload it. And from there, you need to understand your upload process. Your workflow has many steps, and the upload process is an important step. In other words, your headline, your description, your tags. Your tags are really for the early search engine. I mean, when the search engine is trying to figure out what your video is about, it's rendering it, it's trying to figure out what you're saying as compared to the title and the description, and the tags can help that process. So it's very important to keep your tags focused in the beginning. Down the line, your tags don't mean quite as much, but your headline is really important, especially if you're going for search, but even suggested. Because if you have a headline that gets people's attention, that's going to continue to improve the chances that you're going to get a higher click-through rate. And then your description. And I know for a fact that your description also helps with your SEO. So one thing that I'll do, if I'm going for search traffic, if I'm going for suggested traffic, I may have a catchy headline, but I'll use the SEO portion I'll use the SEO portion in the description. In other words, use those keywords in the description. And that seems to be very helpful, especially if I want to get a little search traffic for that video, even though it's not the main focus. It helps YouTube consider the fact that maybe this is one they could test for a specific topic. And that's the key here. YouTube is always testing your videos, and you either succeed or fail. You'll either get the clicks or you won't. People will either watch or they won't. And that's how your videos go up or down, by people continuously watching and clicking those videos. And if they don't, they don't. Then you don't have what it takes for that video. That video doesn't measure up to the one that is maybe considered better based on the metrics when it comes to YouTube. And believe me, I have a whole bunch of videos like that, and we all do, because you're not going to succeed to improve your channel unless you keep going and not give up. You keep going and you keep improving, trying new things. That's what you do. And honestly, I have done a lot of things that have worked really well, and I've done a lot of things that have not worked well. But that's so when you go through that workflow process, you'll start to see and notice the things you can do better each time. So after you upload, decide when you're going to upload, maybe schedule it, make sure you put in a really good thumbnail. And you know what? If you have TubeBuddy, you can test and A/B test your thumbnails. That could be part of your workflow process. Maybe you release your video and then maybe 3 or 4 days later, you do an A/B test with TubeBuddy, and you can see which of those thumbnails works better, because that will help you in your workflow later. That will help you understand, okay, while I'm creating my thumbnails, and whether you do it before you create the video or after, you know what it is that you need to do to improve upon it. In other words, use more words, less words, faces, certain colors. There are many different things to consider. However, in my workflow, I have a basic template that has evolved over time, and I have specific colors and textures and words and word colors that I use on a regular basis to help keep the branding element of my channel. And that's always evolving, but I like to have some sort of consistency. So if you see one of my videos, you'll probably know the next video that you see that's a similar thumbnail is mine automatically. It's not even a question. And that should be part of your workflow too. Have a base. Don't start from scratch every single time. Have a foundation and build from there. I think it's important to use the tools that you have available. Take the time, and after you launch that video, review what's working. Now, if you feel that it's starting off slow, and again, this should be part of your workflow process. If you feel a video starting off slow, consider why. Maybe it's the topic, and a lot of times it is. But maybe you feel like, I really didn't work as hard on the title. There could be a better title or a better thumbnail. So if it's starting off slow, maybe you start off with replacing and have that part of your protocol, your process, and your workflow. Say, okay, it's starting off about 20% slower than normal. I'm going to change the thumbnail and see if that helps at all. If it doesn't help, then maybe consider changing the title a number of hours or the next day. It all depends on how many viewers you tend to get when you start off. For some people, they launch a video, they get 25, some get 100, some get thousands of viewers. So if you get thousands of viewers right when you launch a video, you can make choices a lot quicker about changing things if you need to. So if you normally get 1,000 views once you launch a video and you're only getting about 800 in the first 24 hours, well, then maybe you do have a protocol of changing the thumbnail and the title to see what happens. Again, those are the things you need to figure out. What is that number? And honestly, you do need a reasonable number just to make sure that you have enough data to make a good choice. Now, once you've done that and you've seen your video go for a few days and you may or may not have made adjustments, you should go back to your analytics, maybe figure out what group it belongs to. You can put groups together and have different groups in terms of different types of videos, maybe different things that you've done. That will also help you understand. For example, I have a group. You can save these groups in analytics, and this is under the advanced expert area. What I will do is I will say have a group of videos that has maybe a green text to it. Some have orange text. Some may have faces, some do not. Some are a certain color, and some are topics. Again, topics being the most important thing. And I can see in different groups which of these groups are doing better. Certain topics, I can compare the different topics and see, oh, my audience tends to like this topic over this topic, or they don't like this topic at all, or they don't even react when I put this type of headline up there, or if I use a certain type of image in the thumbnail, the click-through rate tends to go down. That's helpful information. Figuring out what you shouldn't be doing is just as important as figuring out what you should be doing as a process. Hey, how you doing, everyone? Good to see everyone here. All right. Let me start to go through the process of answering questions. Yeah, I'll be editing this different portions. Let me do one thing here. And I'm going to do the question and answer right now for the podcast. So if you want to put some questions up there, and I will go in the back. I'll go through again to answer those questions. But let me see here. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. I'm looking something up, guys. Just give me a sec. I know there's something I wanted to comment on for the podcast, and I think I have failed to find it. Oh, well. All right. Well, it was worth a shot. Okay. Let's see here. Say, you do it. Good to see you. Yeah. Let's see, Jaguar. Pritish, how are you? Let's see here. Okay, that's good. How many tags are ideal? Okay, I'm kind of going back. There are a lot of questions here, so I'm gonna kind of go. Someone asked, "Are you successful on YouTube?" I would say I'm moderate. I have other channels and clients that are much more successful than I am that I've supported. How's that for an answer? I'm successful in social media. I've done social media well. I've written books on it. I understand it. Some areas I do very good. Some areas I do very poorly. I mean, I do a lot of testing, and a lot of my tests fail, and that's good because that means I know more and I can guide people. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, I hope you get success. I have lots of success. Thank you all. What keeps you motivated? One big question is what keeps me motivated. It's the fact that I love creating and sharing. I'm an educator, and I love sharing, and I love creating videos. So, I put them out there, and if people care to watch them, that is awesome. If not, that's fine too. I'm still going to keep making videos because I have a nice archive that I can point people to. If they have questions down the road, I can point them to specific ones. So let's see here. Okay, sir, why some of my videos get sudden boost of views after a few days? Well, one way that videos get boosts over a few days, meaning later down the road, sometimes it's a week or a month or 3 months or even 6 months or longer, before a video catches. And there are a number of reasons. One of the reasons is that somebody else that maybe had a larger YouTube audience created a similar video or a related video. And that video ended up being enough related that YouTube figured, I'm going to recommend this video as the next video. And from there, it was recommended and people clicked on it and people watched your videos. So YouTube said, I'm going to recommend this video more. So sometimes it takes a while for YouTube to pair your videos to the right audience or the right other video. And that can make a big difference. So, and it's the same with search. You know, as I mentioned before, YouTube is always testing, and they'll test your videos with other videos and test your videos within search for various search terms. And sometimes it takes a while for your video to work its way and earn its way up the search category for different terms, not just the term that you put in your title, but other maybe related searches that your video is the answer to, whatever it may be. And that's what can happen. Let's see. Channel is freezing. No, let's see. Thank you. You put, Jaguar mentioned, put you drop tags, but no video shown. I mean, I don't know if, meaning you have a lot of tags or you don't have any tags. SEO is not working on my channel. Oh, okay. Start using, you said you use TubeBuddy. Keep looking for, if you have a smaller channel, look for longer tail keywords to work off of. It can really make a big difference, at least to get a little bit of traffic. Because here's the thing. The key is traffic here. You want traffic from an audience that cares. When people go around again, sub for sub. Hey, I subbed you, sub me. I don't want to sub you. You don't even sub me. Because if you don't care about my channel, you're not doing me any good, and I'm not doing you any good. So it's important to get the right people. So even if it's long tail search and you're getting some people there, as long as it's a group of people who care and gives YouTube a sense of understanding what type of people like your videos, that can be very helpful, even if it's a small number and it gradually builds over time. Well, congratulations. I'm sure you're not getting views like me. Well, congratulations. I'm not getting views like a lot of people, and you're not getting views like others. I mean, every channel is different. That is for sure. And it all depends. It all depends. All right. Let's see. Okay, I've uploaded how many videos? Okay, we've got those. Okay. Somebody had asked, and I missed it. Somebody asked what's the proper amount of tags. I mean, I wouldn't worry about how many tags so much. I would, make sure that you have a branded tag in there, like your name. And I would make sure that you have a couple consistent tags related to your channel, and then a few tags related to the video at hand. If you do that, you're going to be fine. How many? Don't worry about it. Don't do too many. No need to do too many. Because if you start doing too many tags, then you're going to start probably go into other areas that's going to confuse or not make it really clear to YouTube what your video is about in the very beginning. You want it to be very concise and focused, because if you have certain tags that you use and people tend to like the videos, when you put in a specific tag and people tend to like that video a lot more, YouTube is going to probably show, and this is speculation on my part, that if you have the tag cars, and every other video has the tag cars in your videos, well, people who watch that video with the tag cars and watch it for a long time and seem to click on it are more likely going to be served that video. And so it can be helpful, especially in the very beginning, Sir, if some of my videos get watch time lower over time, then why is views increasing? If some of my video get lower watch time, well, here's one of the things. you can get a lower click-through rate and even watch time over time, because if you have a video that's doing well, YouTube is going to take a risk and show it to more people. And when YouTube takes that risk to show it to more people, your click-through rate is going to go down. That's why in the very beginning, your click-through rate's higher. Your click-through rate goes down, and even your watch time in terms of retention will probably go down too. But YouTube is doing a calculation here. Yeah, the retention may go from 50 to 40, but there are more people watching, and so more watch time overall. And so, yes, those numbers will go down over time. Sometimes they go up, believe it or not. It just depends on the video. But most of the time they go down over time because, some of the best videos get a 1% click-through rate after, a million people have seen them, because YouTube pushed that video out and the click-through rate plummeted. But hey, you got a lot of views out of it and maybe a few subscribers too, and people that enjoyed your videos. So that's what happens. Let's see. But okay. Video. Let's see. Jaguar says he got a video with 300,000 views, but he removed it because it was a diss track. Okay. For a personal friend. Hey, fine. It may have been funny and people kept watching it and watching over and over again. See, if you have a video that people watch over and over again, that's really good for your channel or your video specifically. And so if people really liked it and watched it again, yeah, and then YouTube's going to find more people who would like that. I have a video, but mine is through search that has well over 100,000 views. And, again, it's just answering a question. And quite often in search, that is what is working. All right. Any more last minute questions before we go off? And then I have to edit this. I have to edit this episode and put it up this afternoon. Still want to get some more guests on too. So that'll be good. All right. Looks like we're about done with the question and answer section. All right. How much percent? Oh, here's a question. Thank you. See you later. How much percent of traffic is good with suggestions? What percentage? Well, every channel's different. The biggest channels tend to get most of their traffic through suggested and browse, but there are a lot of channels that are totally focused on search and do quite well, and most of it's search. It really just depends on the channel. 10 to 25% ideal, not necessarily. If you are, it depends on what the types of videos you make. That's really what it comes down to. So, I mean, if you're trying to get search, the traffic and, 50-60% of your search traffic is 50% of your traffic is search, then, well, yeah, I mean, then that's great. But if you want more, if you're trying to get a lot of suggested videos, then, you probably want 50-60% of it to be suggested. I mean, it really just depends. It really depends. I do recommend you check out Morning Fame and Nico Kaminsky's recent post on suggested. That was pretty good. Okay, I'm in the United States, Jaguar. I am in Michigan. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on the Tube Labs. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on the Tube Labs podcast. It's great to have you here, and you can catch me live Eastern Standard Time at 11 o'clock. About that, I go live and I record the show, and there are some folks in here from around the world who ask great questions and even, poke at me a little bit, and I deserve it. It's fine. Good questions and maybe a little critique. It's all fair, and I appreciate everyone being here. I hope to see you next Monday, 11 o'clock on the Tube Labs podcast. All right, folks. That's it. You have a great day.